Welcome to today's deep dive. We're going to be really digging into the world of Gawdat.
Oh, excellent choice.
And let me tell you,
Yeah,
this one's got layers,
it does.
like a perfectly engineered happiness onion.
I like where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Mo Gawdat, he's this fascinating blend of tech whiz and happiness guru, right?
Yeah.
He's a former Google X executive, entrepreneur, author, and he has basically dedicated his life to kind of cracking the code on happiness.
Yeah.
And he uses this really unique mix of like technology,
Right.
personal experience, and even ancient wisdom.
It's really fascinating. And you sent us a treasure trove of information on him, Wikipedia entries, excerpts from his website, YouTube interviews, podcast transcripts.
Wow, the whole...
It's like you want the full Gawdat experience.
Yeah.
So it seems like you're interested in more than just the what of his story,
Right.
but also the how,
Yes.
like how he applies that engineer's brain to something as complex as happiness.
And you're right to be curious, because what's so captivating about Mo Gawdat is that he wasn't always this, beacon of happiness and kind of dispenser of wisdom that he is now.
Right.
He had, a very, very successful career, climbing the ranks at IBM Egypt, then Microsoft, eventually landing that,
Yeah, the dream job.
coveted position at Google X, right?
Yeah.
Yet, despite achieving these traditional markers of success, he still faced, periods of deep unhappiness.
Yeah. And I think that's such a good reminder for so many of us.
Absolutely.
That, those external markers of success, the dream job, the house, the car, it doesn't automatically equal internal fulfillment.
Not a guarantee.
Yeah, it's like he was living proof that something was missing from the equation.
And that's precisely what set him on this path.
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't content with just like vague self-help platitudes. He was looking for something, a framework, something measurable, actionable. So he approached happiness the way an engineer would approach any problem, with data, with analysis, and even algorithms.
Okay, so let's unpack this whole engineering happiness thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm equal parts intrigued and terrified.
Like,
How do you even begin to quantify something like happiness?
it's a great question. And that's where I think his background really comes into play.
Okay.
You see, Mo Gawdat, he was born and raised in Egypt, and he was exposed to both Eastern and Western philosophies from a young age.
Yeah.
And you see this cross-cultural perspective woven into his entire approach.
Okay.
It's not just about, feeling good.
Right.
It's about understanding like the mechanics of happiness.
So he's like the Marie Kondo of the mind,
Ooh.
tidying up our thoughts and emotions with data-driven precision.
I like that. I like that analogy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay.
But there's another layer to this story.
Okay.
A deeply personal one that really ignited his mission and kind of, really fueled his work.
Yeah.
And that was in 2014. His son, Ali, who is a talented young musician, tragically passed away at the age of 21
Oh, wow.
due to medical errors during a routine appendectomy.
Oh, my gosh. That's just heartbreaking.
It's an experience that Mo Gawdat himself describes as the most painful thing a human can endure.
Yeah.
And yet, from the depths of that grief came an even stronger resolve to understand and to teach happiness.
Yeah.
It's like his son's memory became this driving force to help others navigate
Right.
life's inevitable pain.
Yeah, it's almost as if he saw this immense tragedy as a call to action.
Mhm.
Like he wasn't going to let grief consume him,
Right.
but instead used it as fuel for this incredible journey of exploration.
It's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And what's even more poignant is that his son, Ali, even at a young age, had this intuitive wisdom about inner peace.
Okay.
Moga had shared stories about how he would often turn to Ali for perspective
Wow.
and gain valuable insights from his son's simple yet profound observations.
So it's like Ali, even in his youth, played a significant role in shaping his father's understanding of happiness.
Absolutely. And this personal tragedy, intertwined with Ali's inherent wisdom, it became the foundation for all of Mo Gawdat's work.
All right.
He wasn't content with just, surviving grief. He wanted to help people thrive,
Yeah.
even amidst life's inevitable challenges.
It's like he took, the rawest, most painful experience and transformed it into this incredible gift
Absolutely.
for the world.
It's powerful. And that gift comes in the form of, these practical tools and frameworks.
Okay.
And one of his most well-known is the happiness equation.
Oh, yes. I've heard about this. I'm a sucker for a good equation.
Of course, who isn't?
Does it involve calculus? Because I might need a refresher.
No calculus, thanks.
Okay, good.
It's actually quite simple.
Okay.
Happiness equals or is greater than events minus expectation.
Okay, that is surprisingly elegant. I like it. So it's not about like chasing happy events. It's about kind of managing that space between what happened and what we think should happen.
Precisely.
Right.
We don't always have control over the events,
right,
but we can control our expectations.
Totally.
I tried this recently. I had a string of canceled flights that threw my whole schedule off.
Ugh, the worst.
And I was, about to, lose it. And then I remembered the happiness equation.
Right.
And I decided to just ditch my expectation of a perfectly timed trip and just embrace the chaos.
Okay, that's impressive. Did you suddenly develop like a love for airport lounges and lukewarm coffee?
Not quite, but choosing to, just laugh at the absurdity of it all instead of getting all tangled up in frustration, it genuinely helped.
Okay, so there's a lesson in there somewhere about embracing the unexpected and maybe packing extra snacks.
Always a good idea.
Right. But this equation, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right?
This is just the beginning. Gawdat goes so much deeper, and he highlights what he calls the 6 grand illusions that often trip us up on our quest for happiness.
Ooh, 6 grand illusions, like a magic show for the mind.
Exactly.
Right, give me the rundown.
Okay, so he lists them as control, thought, self, knowledge, time, and fear.
Okay.
And these illusions, they distort our perception and they sabotage our happiness. Like wearing those, trick glasses with the wonky lenses, everything looks off.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so like control, for example. I'm a bit of a planner myself. I like to-do lists and color-coded calendars.
Well, as many of us do.
Right.
But that illusion of control, right? It's thinking that we can orchestrate everything.
Right.
When in reality, so much is outside our grasp.
Right.
So it's about finding that balance between, taking action where we can, but also accepting what we cannot change.
Which is way easier said than done when you're, staring down a to-do list a mile long.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, but I get it. It's that, like, focus on what you can influence, not on trying to control the uncontrollable.
Yes, exactly. And along with the illusions,
okay,
we've also got to contend with what he calls the 7 blind spots. And these are those sneaky little thought patterns that are kind of hardwired into our brains.
Ah, yeah, those pesky blind spots. Like when you think you look amazing in that new outfit, but then you see a photo later, you're like, who is that?
Exactly. We all have them.
Yeah.
And Gawdat lists them as exaggeration, negativity bias, blind optimism, emotional reasoning, personalization, should statements, and polarized thinking.
It's quite a list.
It is.
Split it apart.
They're like cognitive distortions
Okay.
that can really skew our view of the world.
So it's like these illusions and these blind spots, they're like the factory settings of our minds.
Yes.
And part of what Gawdat's like work is about is recognizing those.
Yes.
And consciously choosing to like hit the reset button.
Beautifully put. It's not about achieving some perfect state of mind.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing these patterns, these tendencies, and choosing, even if it's a tiny little course correction, choosing a different path. That's where the real work begins.
So how do we actually start rewiring those default settings? Where do we even begin?
Well, one of Gawdat's, I think, key strategies is acceptance.
Okay.
He calls it the Jedi Master level of happiness.
Okay. Jedi Master level definitely sounds like a level I aspire to reach.
Right.
Sign me up. But seriously, how do we tap into that?
It's not about, passively resigning yourself to a bad situation.
Right.
It's about acknowledging what is.
Okay.
Without getting, swept away by this need to control it or change it.
Right. So it's about choosing your battles, focusing your energy on what you can influence.
Yeah.
Is that where this whole neuroplasticity thing comes in?
Precisely. Gawdat emphasizes that our brains are constantly changing, adapting, rewiring themselves based on our experiences and our thoughts. We are not stuck with those factory settings.
Right.
We have the power to rewire them for greater happiness.
That's actually incredibly hopeful when you think about it.
It is.
Right? Like our brains are these incredible, are adaptable machines.
Exactly. And like any muscle,
Yeah.
the more we exercise our happiness muscles through practices like gratitude, mindfulness, even accepting the things that we can't change,
Right.
the stronger they become.
So what does that workout routine look like in practice? Does it involve, like, lifting tiny dumbbells made of gratitude?
I wish it were that easy.
Right.
But Gawdat does provide some pretty awesome tools.
Okay, I am here for the tools. Hit me with your best Gawdat wisdom.
Well, one tool that really resonates with me is his happiness flowchart.
Ooh, a flowchart.
Yeah, it's beautifully simple.
You know I love a good visual aid, so lay it on me.
Okay, so imagine this.
Okay.
You're hit with a negative thought. Step 1, ask yourself,
Okay.
is this thought actually true? Or is it my blind spots talking?
So fact check your own brain.
Exactly.
I like it.
Step 2,
Okay.
if it is true, ask yourself, can I do something about it?
Okay.
If so, great, take action.
Right.
But if not,
You got to move on to stage 3, the acceptance zone.
you nailed it.
Yeah.
It's about saying, okay, this is happening. I can't control it,
Yeah.
but I can choose how I respond.
This flowchart is like a pocket-sized therapist for your thoughts. I'm adding this to my mental toolkit immediately.
Right. And speaking of tools,
Okay.
remember Gawdat's emphasis on presence,
Mm-hmm.
his son, Ali's tattoo. The gravity of the battle means nothing to those at peace.
Right.
Speaks volumes about this idea, right?
Yeah.
For finding that calm amidst the chaos.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that we can find moments of peace even when,
Yes.
life feels like a battlefield.
Even when it does.
And it's interesting how that ties into,
Yes.
Gawdat's views on unconditional love.
It's central to his philosophy.
Okay.
He talks about how unconditional love, the kind without demands, without expectations,
Right.
was transformative in his own life, especially with his children.
It makes you realize how often we attach conditions to love, even subconsciously.
Yes.
It's like, I love you if.
Yes.
Right.
And that's where things get messy.
Yeah.
Unconditional love, on the other hand, is liberating. It's about accepting and appreciating others for who they truly are, flaws and all.
That kind of radical acceptance.
It's powerful.
Feels so powerful.
It is.
For both, the giver and the receiver.
Absolutely. And it ties into this balance that Gawdat talks about, right?
Yeah.
The need for a more, what he calls, feminine approach.
Okay.
And not in a gender-specific way, but in embracing qualities like empathy, intuition, creativity.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you brought that up because,
Yeah.
it's not about one gender being better than the other or, right. It's about finding that balance within ourselves.
Within ourselves.
We all have both, masculine and feminine qualities.
We do.
And embracing both is key.
Absolutely. And this brings us to what might seem like a completely different topic,
Okay.
but is actually, I think, deeply intertwined, and that is Gawdat's really kind of stark warnings about artificial intelligence.
It is so interesting how he connects these seemingly like disparate ideas,
Right.
happiness and love, and then the rise of AI.
Yeah.
But he's very clear about the urgency of this message.
He is. He sees AI as a reflection of ourselves, of our collective consciousness.
Okay.
And he's saying that if we're feeding it data that's riddled with our own biases and our own fears, then what kind of future are we creating?
It's a sobering thought.
It is.
Right. It's like we are essentially raising a digital child here.
We are.
And it's going to inherit our strengths and our flaws.
Exactly, which is why he stresses the importance of our own inner work.
Right.
He says the more we cultivate happiness and compassion and awareness within ourselves,
Yeah.
the better equipped we will be to guide AI in a direction that actually benefits humanity.
So it's not just about saving ourselves.
It's not. It's bigger than us.
It's about saving the future.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that our own happiness, our own evolution is deeply intertwined with this future that we're creating.
It's a powerful message and a call to action.
It is.
Gawdat, he doesn't just want us to understand happiness.
Right.
He wants us to use it as a force for good in the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
His work is a reminder that happiness,
Yeah.
it's not a destination, it's a journey, it's a practice, and it's a responsibility.
It's about showing up for ourselves and,
Yes.
and for the world
Yes.
with open hearts and minds.
Yes, beautifully said. And on that note, here's something to ponder.
Okay.
If you could go back and erase all of your past struggles, would you? Or have those challenges, those moments of darkness, shaped you into the person you are today?
That's That is a powerful question to leave our listeners with.
It is.
It reminds us that even in our struggles, right?
Yes.
There's growth, there's transformation.
There is.
And maybe, just maybe, there's a deeper understanding of happiness waiting to be discovered on the other side.
Perhaps.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this incredible deep dive into the world of Gawdat. Until next time, remember, happiness is a choice. Choose wisely.